Hey everybody, and welcome to Rising Sun, The Final Thoughts.
Good to see you again.
Hey, how you doing?
It's good to be back. You might have noticed that this is clearly not right after Rising Sun, because when we finished playing that, it was very early in the morning.
Yes.
And everybody had to go home. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. So
there was a lot of negotiating in that.
There was.
Yeah. We got
A lot of chit-chatter.
We got chased out of the studio by Angry Oni.
And since then, Manon has gone on holiday, so unfortunately she couldn't be here for this.
Yeah, she left the country to make sure she didn't have
She's
to.
gone to the south of France to recuperate. So she's in the south of France, and we're here to discuss sort of our final thoughts on the game. And Ollie, you've actually had an opportunity to play it again since, which is good.
Yeah, which I found quite funny because the week after we played, I was down at my local gaming store and just there for some normal games with some friends, bumped into three guys who had just bought Rising Sun, and they asked if we wanted to play, and I was like, definitely. I really want
this.
Well, I was like, I really want to play this again, and I was telling them like, oh, last time I was the Fox Clan and I tried to do this and it didn't quite work out.
Sorry.
Pardon you.
It didn't quite work out the way I wanted to do it, but this and this and this. So we started playing it again, randomly drew the clans, and ended up being the Fox Clan again. And
I love how that was random.
it was entirely random, and I was the fourth person to pick a clan.
No way.
Yeah, so it was like, I just laughed when I got it.
Did they have the Sun and Moon stuff as well?
No, they had everything but the Sun and
The
Moon.
Dynasty Invasion. So this is the Chinese clans?
Yeah, but the thing was, there was 6 of us, so we had, again, perfect alliances all the time, which was funny, but with more players, it seemed less, because you could go, right, well, that guy's winning. Do you want to be on the winning team and not get attacked, or do you want to do this? And it was a lot of fun to do, and I kind of had a bit of an advantage because I was like, Fox Clan, I have an idea how to win with them, and I won by 4 points. Felt a little bit guilty because it was like, I'm playing against 3 guys that have played it once before, 2 guys that have never played it before, but the guy who came second had never picked it up before, and he was the Koi Clan, and picking it up quite well with the fact of mercenaries is money, which is mercenaries, which are recuperated.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun playing it twice. I would say definitely once you're a little bit more familiar with the deck, you have more of an idea how you want to play. It gives you
an advantage. I mean, you would have played with a different season deck than the one we used.
Yeah,
because we used, what did we use?
Horses.
Oh, Teapot wasn't. No, Horseman.
The Horseman.
Yes.
Yeah, we used Horsemen, and then we had the additional monsters and the Lucky Gods as well.
But it was a lot of fun, and I did sort of tell them as we were playing, I played this with some of my friends beforehand, and this is what happened. And
did you say watch it on the channel Ready Steady Play?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, yeah, no.
Notes to self. Lie better.
Mention channel whenever possible. But
it was a lot of fun to play it again.
So did you feel like you'd learned a lot from playing it here?
Yes. One of the things.
What were the key lessons?
The more players you've got, the more important board presence and maneuverability becomes. One of the things that happened was the person who was one of the guys playing was playing as Lotus. Everyone wanted to be on his side to have that pick, but people who weren't on his side had to come up with an alternative, and the alternative worked around making sure you could move where you wanted to. There were a few of the Kami that seemed to be more important again, because we had Ryujin again, and we had Hachiman.
So Ryujin is the one that allows you to
purchase things in every Kami phase from
purchase
the market,
a card,
which it's very powerful.
Yeah.
But
you've got to have the money to do it.
Yes, and that was the thing. It's not just thinking about how you want to have your turn play out. You've also got to make sure you can afford to do it. But
if you allow someone to run away with it, like in our game, for example, I noticed actually what was really interesting in our game of Rising Sun on the very first season.
Yeah,
I've got the Ryujin Shrine for all 3 Kami phases.
Yeah.
Then we play train twice.
Yeah.
Then Michael turns a 3rd tile into a 3rd train.
Yeah.
Allowing me to purchase 6 cards in the first season.
Yeah.
Which gives me so much money.
Yeah.
Or so many ways of getting more money.
Way of the Shogun.
I can just run away with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. In R1 there was quite a lot more changeover of the Kami. which was good and bad because it meant that no one person had them for so long. It was like, oh my god, you're just going to steamroll.
Yeah, like that.
But it made me laugh that we had different clans to the extent that you could, because we had 6 people, so most of them were going to be on the table.
Yeah.
And the dynamic between them is quite funny. Some clans really work well together. Some of them do not. Some of them seem to kind of be opposed to how you're going. And it's funny because Honor, at first I thought, like in our game, I went, oh, low Honor, I don't care. And that cost me quite heavily. And I think even with a low Honor game, it's still important to consider who you're allowing to
have the Honor.
Yeah, to have the Honor. Because if you just let someone stay at the top, there's a very powerful advantage they've got.
Because they win all...
Yeah, they win all ties.
They win all ties.
Especially if they're the Sun clan, where they want to win all the ties.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting because there's a few themes that always come up, and there's a few that seem to sort of go with the clans, and it was a lot of fun to play it again. I'd definitely say do it.
So the one of the things that I noticed, especially in the game that we all played, obviously it's really cutthroat.
Oh god, yeah.
There is not there. It's one of those games where the balancing mechanic isn't. There's not really a present balancing mechanic to a certain extent, and so it's actually in much the same way as Inish and some other sort of games that rely a lot on table talk and diplomacy. It really relies on the players to balance it.
Yeah.
There was a comment on one of our videos during the summer season which said basically, I can't believe someone allied with Michael again, which was actually you. That he can't believe that you allied with me.
But I think we did that because you were like, oh, I'll ally with you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But bearing in mind that that they at that point, it was apparent that I had such a great lead that by allying with me, I would never... The thing is as well, like in our game, and this is... Nobody ever played the betray tile.
Yeah. No.
And... I'm sure in your game someone did.
We actually played it twice, but this was the funny thing. I played it once, and my ally from the first turn played it against me, and we were so apologetic about doing it because it was like, I'm not doing this to screw you over. I'm doing this because I want to kill these people because this helps me in the battle, and I think that's the thing we overlooked because we always wanted to keep the alliances intact. But being able to just remove 2 things from the board
and replace them with your own things,
yeah.
And this is something I was going to say to you is that I think you were so excited, or not excited, but you were sort of... You got it into your head that being my ally in the second season was really important because I was winning and it meant that you would be able to win. But actually, if you'd betrayed me in that season, or even put down 2 betray tiles, you would have dropped to the bottom of the honor ladder, but you were only in you were only 3 of 4 anyway.
I wasn't in the top 2 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You were near the bottom anyway. You were 3rd. So you would have dropped into 4th place, but your problem was that your army had been wiped out.
Yeah.
And that would have allowed you to get a lot more models back on the board because you could have replaced my models and other people's models with your own.
Right.
Yeah, and
I think that's just my
lack of
yeah. But it's also it's funny because even when you know you're not doing it to affect your ally, you feel bad about betraying them.
Yeah,
because you've gone to all this effort to get an alliance, and depending on how quickly you break it. You do lose out on benefits from sharing the actions, but I mean, if it's say the second to last tile that's getting placed, there's not really a reason to stay through it because all that's happening is your ally doesn't kill your models. But if you're not anywhere with them, that's not going to happen anyway.
And also, I mean, there's a lot less opportunity to benefit from the alliance in the war phase.
Yeah.
And so cutting your alliance towards the end of the political phase means that you're going to miss out on fewer of the joint actions. And so that's a viable thing. But the other thing is that if you sort of plan to betray them, you can actually prepare for it during the political phase anyway. So when you do inevitably betray them, curse your inevitable betrayal.
Yes.
But when that does finally roll around, you can be in a position to really take advantage of it in the war phase if you've planned for it.
And to be honest... Going down 1 honor for betraying your ally, you can get that back with 1 seppuku in the war phase, and you then gain victory points for it. And that, I think, Mike had a really strong combo running because he had righteousness, he had respect.
I just had so many cards.
No, but the ones I found particularly cool were respect and righteousness, because it's okay. I might, depending on who you are, I might want seppuku for the victory points immediately and the honor to jump to the top. Taking hostages, well, I'm stealing one of your victory points and I'm getting free money from the bank. So when it's quite tied, like if your opponent has no victory points, that kind of falls to the wayside and you're just getting free money. But if they do, you're nicking one from them, and for every one you steal from them, your gap gets wider. And righteousness allows you to do it with more than one, which means you get an extra victory point and money. So in my second game, at one point, I had 5 hostages. I was just like, right, that's great. And it was because I realised that taking hostages actually did benefit me. But you also had mercy in your game, which I didn't get on my second one, which is I'm not killing anyone, I'm just getting more victory points. So if I know you've got righteousness and you're investing in Imperial Poets, I'm just not going to kill anyone. And then I've made you waste all of those resources.
Furthermore, what one of the reasons I got mercy was by allowing my opponents to keep their models. It meant I was more likely to attain draws.
Yeah.
Because if I wipe you out and there's no way for you to compete with me, then I can't draw with you anymore. And I want to be drawing with you because every time I do that, I gain a victory point, you lose one. I gain a coin and you lose one.
Yeah.
And that's playing into the sun ability.
Yeah. No, but that was a strong power for you.
I managed to pull off a lot of draws.
Yeah. But I think the thing that did make me laugh on my second playthrough was the lead in points was not nearly as great as our game, and most of that probably was allowing Mike to have Ryujin for so long without any attempt to get it off of him.
Well, if you notice in our playthrough, everything starts to fall apart for me in the third season when everybody gangs up on me and takes Ryujin from me, and I didn't really have any sort of any.
If only would have done that a season ago.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If you guys had done that, I mean, the biggest mistake I think the pair of you made was going into the war phase of the first season with no money.
Yes.
Yeah.
That cost you basically the game.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you just couldn't do anything, and we were taking you hostage, Manon and I, and we were preventing you from using your Ronin, and we were sort of really optimizing the placement of our coins, and we didn't really have to give much money away because you guys couldn't compete with us. And that was partly also because we had the card that allowed us to take money from you for being higher honor. And I'm trying to think, but I don't think there was ever a moment either where you guys... I'm trying to remember if there... Because I can't recall now, but if there was an opportunity for you to commit seppuku and you didn't.
There was, but I didn't because everything I got in the first season revolved around me being bottom of the honor list. I had the Oni, I had the cursed tree,
right.
I had Path of the Ninja, and all of those things were based around me being underhanded and deceitful. And while those are good things to have, focusing on them to the extent that I did really hamstrung me, because having high honor gets you a lot more benefit than those 3 cards got me. Especially because Fox Clan, I'm not summoning, I'm just placing. So I didn't get Path of the Ninja, I didn't get...
but having the high power as well, or the high force, was undermined, I think, a lot by the fact that you couldn't support your war effort with money, which is so important.
If I'd have been, say, the Koi Clan and had Hachiman, I'm just like, right, I've got... Because I had Hachiman...
But if you just had money... you had force, you just needed money to back it up. You know, like, if you've got no money, then things are being taken hostage, or people are putting in Ronin, and they're undermining your force.
Yeah. And that's the thing, especially... I mean, I loved your character that was... Daimyo counts as a stronghold, and you had the 2 Daimyo upgrade cards.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, I can't kill this git, and he's just wandering around on a small turtle.
I saw that combo the minute it came out, and I was just like, that's mine. So good.
And the fact it's free. It was just... It was... Yeah. I would have done it if I was in your shoes, and it was just a great combo, because there was essentially no way of getting rid of him.
He's invincible, man.
Yeah, he's a stronghold, except he's not a stronghold, he's a daimyo, so he can't be taken hostage. He can't be killed by the kaiju. He couldn't be...
Well, he could be killed by the daikaiju.
Well, he could
eventually.
Well, no, the daikaiju in the last season could have done it. The fire dragon could have done it if you were silly enough to leave him there.
I don't think so. No, because the fire dragon kills models and he can't be killed. Only the daikaiju could do it because the daikaiju destroys strongholds.
Yeah, so there's one model in the entire game that could take him out, and you had him for 3 seasons. It was really hard to...
I had 2 models moving around with force too, which is really potent.
Yeah. I mean, I thought my Oni were good when it's like, oh, I'm force 3 or force 4 because I'm so underhanded and horrible. But it's very much.
But it's an extremely cutthroat game.
Oh yeah,
it's so cutthroat, and you really. The thing is, even when you're allied with someone, you're not really allied with them. You're trying to figure out how you can leverage the alliance to your advantage.
And that's definitely what I did not do.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, you're inherently quite a collaborative player. You're sort of,
It's probably not the game for me.
I don't think that you're a very sort of cutthroat player, or I don't think you sort of view the game in a way of leveraging your advantage. Like when you gave me the 4 victory points for Kyoto in the second season,
I was amazed.
And I was just like,
what are you doing?
Yeah,
I was pretty much. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because you couldn't. What you should have done, I think, was because you were like, be nice to me in the next season, and I was like, yep, I can make that agreement.
Yeah,
because there's not
you weren't
anything specific to hold me to.
Yeah,
I can't remember actually if you called upon it in the 3rd season for anything.
Nope.
I don't think I did because I don't think there was anything for you to be nice to me because all your plan was falling apart then. So you didn't really
it was
hold
already
any
too
power.
late.
Yeah, but there was no way to. He had 8 territories by then.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, you gained the majority of them in the first go.
Yeah.
Well, I think I won 4 out of 5 conflicts in the first round.
Yep.
Or 3 out of 5.
Did not win a single conflict.
Yeah, Manon won 2, I think actually.
Yeah.
And I think that was half the issue. Like you were alliance with Mammon, that's sort of like annihilated me and Ollie to a certain extent.
Well,
and then,
both of you lost every single model off the map in the first season.
And then when we allied, I was like, oh, I didn't utilize having that. I don't think people or I didn't make you lot utilize me the way that because I was so powerful in that I could do whatever you
could do whatever you like.
I could do whatever I liked, and I was like, oh, what would you like me to do? I will do that for you if you do this for me, type thing.
The thing is, I was very much like the worst ally to have on the table at that time because it's just who wants to ally with me? I bring very little to my ally. I'm not supporting them militarily. I'm not doing that. You had an incredibly powerful ability. You could have leveraged a bit more than you did.
Yeah, but I don't think people people didn't take advantage of that with me either.
Well, I tried to, but it was
because you didn't ally with me and say, "Can you do this for me?"
No, he also didn't want.
And I don't think Mammon didn't either.
No.
But I don't know if Mammon didn't know that because we were still both on quite a steep learning curve with it.
Yeah, I did find it funny though that Mike was like, "I'm not allying with Ollie because the first thing he's going to do is betray me." It's like, yeah, kind of. Probably quite, yeah.
But you definitely should have betrayed me in the second season. Because it would have.
But I think that's just my lack of knowledge because I couldn't quite work out. I hadn't thought that far ahead of what betraying would do to me.
One of your big issues was that you didn't have the strongholds to capitalize on the recruit action.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get your models back on the board.
Correct.
So instead you focused on getting martial actions to put out strongholds in order to make the recruit actions better. But what Betray does is allows you to get 2 models on the board without even needing the strongholds.
Yeah. And the thing is you got...
And I can't really sit there and point out to you should betray me,
Yeah. But it's also the
fact... that would be dumb.
It's also the fact of you're replacing like for like. So you go, oh, I've got this really awful, scary model to come in. Well, I don't like the look of that dragon, so bye-bye, dragon.
Well, yeah, but the other thing was that you could have quite easily taken one of like Ollie's powerful Oni or one of my powerful Lucky Gods and replaced it with... I mean, that's how you could have got rid of my Turtle Man, Stronghold Daimyo Turtle Man. Just replace him with your Kaimenu, the golden dog, whatever his name is. Kaimanu?
I think so.
Kaimanu.
See, that just didn't even occur to me. It's like, I think there was just one, like, I'm not...
You're telling me that all 3 of these boxes all at once?
I'm like,
That's too much. Michael, we played with Claire. You knew what was going on.
Yeah, you had one whole game before I did.
If you don't get that, follow me on Instagram.
But
poor Claire.
But then, like you say, I'm not... I generally just don't think these type of games are for me because I'm just not cutthroat enough for it.
But you don't... I think the thing is, though, you don't have to be super cutthroat. If you're...
But the thought didn't even occur to me to do it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's what got you.
Not
thinking about it. Because believe me, I thought a lot about it.
Because a big part of it is sort of leveraging these things. Like there's a huge potency in saying, I could betray you now, and it would have these advantages to me. What are you going to pay me not to do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Or the example that you used before. Oh, have these 4 victory points. No,
Yeah.
I will give you these 4 victory points if you give me 6 coin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give me money.
Give
yeah.
me 6 coin now, or I won't do it.
Yeah. Or, move those troops out of this province.
Yeah.
And it is a gentleman's agreement, so you do kind of have to have
Well, unless
some,
you extort the money first.
if you ask for coin, then obviously you can just get that straight up.
Yeah.
But if you say like don't attack this province or whatever, move out of this province before the war phase, that's a bit different. But
And the thing is, depending on when you say that, you have the ability to be like, well, I know you could have done it, so you haven't, which means you've betrayed our agreement. So screw you, betrayal, or just anything to they don't want to be able to do. So they know I don't want to have to fight in this next bit, and you do a marshal to allow everyone else to get in there.
And I think one of the things I was a bit guilty of, maybe with not even thinking that I was, with thinking about what I should do, is that, I was definitely guilty of, well, what's the point? Because he's so far ahead, I'm never going to beat him.
See, I never think that with Mike. I'm always willing to have a go.
There he is.
There he is. Steve. I do love
Here's
those. Those models are just beautiful.
So it's such a lovely game that the intricacy and the detail on them.
The one thing I would say though that is a little bit annoying is getting them back in the box, because you really don't want to put them in the wrong one, and you are terrified that you're doing it. Putting that back in, it'd almost be nice if they had a picture of it just to say this is where everything goes.
there's a list on the some fan put it together on the board game.
I'm not surprised, because those models are far too beautiful for you to accidentally be like, oh crap, I put it in the wrong one and close the lid.
It is soft plastic, but it's not too bad.
No, but it's a worry you have, because you're like, I don't want to break my pretty game.
Yeah, and it is a very pretty game.
Yes.
Of course, this is the Kickstarter edition with a bunch of fancy extra stuff, but I mean, I think there's still enough in the core set.
Yeah.
Like,
I love everything.
But what I
about
do
this.
like, actually, particularly about this, is how seamlessly everything fits together.
Yeah.
Like the adding in the Kami Unbound, the Monsters Pack, the Dynasty Invasion. It didn't add so much bloatedness to the whole product that it felt sort of like unplayable or unwieldy or too long. I mean, our playthrough did last a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think it does have the potential to be a very long game. But having said that, I think that... even with all this additional content, it doesn't feel just bloated and overbearing.
No, I mean, the thing I would definitely say is all of these expansions, they're modular, they fit very well together. You don't feel like you have to play with any of them. However, they bring so much fun to it. Like being able to go, I want to have this dragon turn up, I want to have this Oni show up. It's a lot of fun to do, and half the time you end up going, I want this model for its effect, but I also really want the model, so I have the model.
And it comes with the model for this New Zealand farmer.
Still love.
So hilarious.
I'm not gonna lie. I told the guys on my second playthrough about that, and I just could not believe they've just poor research. Everything else is so well done. It's like that was the intern.
But if you want to find out a bit more about that story, maybe you should look it up on the internet rather than me going into it here. I do think that game was more or less resolved after the first season, unfortunately.
Poor foxes.
I did not realize how potent the season cards, the collecting of the season cards would be. I saw a few small combos that I sought that then kind of just snowballed into an extremely potent number of combos.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what resulted in this huge discrepancy in the final scores. But I do think...
I believe it was... Oh, no, wait, it was a lot.
It was... I'm trying to remember now, but I think...
It was like 100 and something to 30.
But... and I do think, to an extent, Michael, you probably did get a little bit of self-defeatism. I think with some real guile, you might have been able to pull it back after the first round, but everybody would have had to collaborate to bring me down.
Which is not to say we wouldn't have done it.
Which is not to.
It's very much a.
We were all the one person that should have done that is me because of the practice round that I had, because you and Mammon didn't really.
You'd played a season.
You'd played a season, so you were all that little less experienced. So that is when I should have gone, oh, we need to gang up on him here. But I don't know.
But
It's
that's
just not in my nature.
Well, no, but that's the thing. So,
which is not how you win the game.
Well, like we said, this is a sort of a very vicious game.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a game of sort of backstabbing and betrayal and machinations. You know, it's not at all like there's really no collaborative element to this game, because if you are allied with someone and you're totally collaborating with them, you're really just screwing yourself over later when you're not allied.
When you inevitably have to betray them to try to win.
Yeah, or they betray you, or try to get a because there's only one winner.
Yeah, there is no second place.
Yeah, the game cannot end in a draw. So you know you've always got to be thinking about how you're gonna work towards that victory in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I love the game. I mean, clearly I'd play it again because I have done.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to play it again with the full expansion set.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to bring the Moon guys out because they seem kind of cool.
Yep. I would love to. I love this game. I'm so happy to have it. I don't think I'll ever sell it.
But if he does, I'm first on the list of buyers. So
yeah, much to Ollie's upset, I don't think I'm ever going to sell it unless I'm
desperate need for money.
Yeah, some personal tragedy occurs. But you know,
am I a bad friend for being like, ooh, so there's a chance?
Suddenly your house is burned down. How did that happen?
Well, it's a game of betrayal.
Oh, you got to try to burn down my flat without burning down the board games.
Difficult but doable. Difficult but doable.
What a funny thing! Our entire flat is burned down except for Rising Sun.
Excuse me.
But I'm so happy to have it. I would definitely buy the core set even if I hadn't gotten it on the Kickstarter, just to sort of possess in my collection, because I really do think it fills a really fun and interesting niche. I really like the collection of the combo cards. I like the different avenues it gives you towards victory. I like the table talk. I have Inish. I love Inish. This is Inish plus
many things.
Instead of card drafting, you have sort of political action selection and discussion, but the table talk elements are what feel really similar, and I think that is the core of this game, and it's absolutely what's going to make this a deal breaker for people. Yeah. If you don't like that, then you're going to hate this, and if you do like that,
then you are going to love this.
You're going to love it. Mm-hmm. And for me, I mean, I love so many different kinds of games, and that's one thing I love about games. They don't have to have that, but if they do, I get into it and I really enjoy it. How about you, Michael? You had a pretty negative experience, I think.
Yeah. Was it that obvious?
I don't know. There was a certain still image of it that I laughed at.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Embarrassing.
It's hilarious.
When we were doing the playthrough, I know it was obviously a lot less cutthroat because we were playing with Claire, who wasn't quite as vicious. But I remember playing that playthrough, and obviously it's very different elements to it from when you're playing with people. But I actually enjoyed that, and I the whole concept of the game, and doing the miniatures and doing all the playthrough. I actually enjoyed it. And I think it was just because it wasn't necessarily that you ran away with it or you were so powerful. I think it was more frustration on my part that I'd done something so stupid, personally, in those first few goes, that then I couldn't work out a way to strategize a mitigating way out of that, and then so it wasn't just, it was almost like these things kept compounding on top of each other, and I was like, oh, you're such an idiot. Oh no, I'm getting screwed
I can
over.
relate.
Oh,
I can relate to that. That happened to me a few times as well. It's like, Kansai, my most defended region. How the crap have I lost every single person? Oh my god, I've got nothing.
And I think to base my opinion on I mean, everyone has really bad playthroughs of games and stuff, and it doesn't necessarily make it a bad game or one that you should never play again. But it's definitely the type of game that this is definitely doesn't play into what I like about games or how I play games. But I would definitely, like, if you said that there's 4 of us coming around, let's play Rising Sun, I wouldn't go, no, I'm not coming. Because it's just a different style and a different play of game, and my skill set isn't necessarily in utilising those skills in this type of game. But that's not to say I wouldn't enjoy playing it again.
I think there's a definite sort of... I think there's an interesting point to be made about people who are willing to play games that maybe don't fit their sort of skill set. And I think as someone who plays a lot of different kinds of games, there's a real opportunity to grow as a player by playing the games that challenge you and that you find difficult. And there's a lot to learn about yourself. Yeah. But you have to be an elegant loser. This is something I learned about playing competitive games, and competitive games especially with elements of random chance, because there's games where you still play perfectly and then you lose anyway because of a big random swing. It's uncommon, especially in competitive games, because if a swing can determine the outcome of a game, then people tend to just not want to play it or not want to play it competitively. But what I'm saying is, to a degree, if you blame elements of random chance for your losses, if you don't sit and think about why you lost and how you can improve, you can't really grow as a player and improve your game overall.
Yeah.
So if you don't challenge yourself as a player, or you just sort of pick one game that you just excel at, then you'll be very good at that game, but you won't really be able to play many different games. And for me, this hobby being a social hobby, being able to just sit down and sort of pick up any game that people want to play is far more important to me than being so good at any one game I can win it every time. I'd much rather play a game I've never played with people than, try and organize a game night to play that one game I'm really good at so I can win it.
Yeah.
Because for me, the social aspects was the most important.
And to be honest, I like playing you guys in games because although, I joke often that you are just always going to beat me and always the betrayer, but it's just because
it's not true. I don't beat you every time.
No, but that's my point is you don't always win. You don't always play a game you're going to win at. I never feel like going into a game I've just not got a chance. Sometimes I'll go in thinking I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm sure that comes across. But it's always fun because it's always fun, and I find that most of the time when I'm frustrated, it tends to be with how I've made a mistake as opposed to
exactly. And but that was me in this game.
I think that applies to all of us.
No. But I've yet to play a game where I've just gone, do you know what? I'm never playing that game again because it's so clear. X always happens, and this means that I've yet to play a game like that on this channel.
I've yet to play a game, actually, a board game, where I've at the end of the game, I've just rage quit the game and gone. But let me caveat this, because there's a lot of games that I've played where I've gone, well, I'm not going to play this again because I just don't think the game is that good.
Legitimate criticism
about the game. But I've never played a game so badly that I've gone,
I don't want to play this.
I don't want to play this again,
and I'm just stopping
because I refuse to believe that there's a game out there that has sort of a mechanic that's so unassailable for me as a player that I can't ever win it.
There's one game I can think of that I've played you against where I think it's not the mechanic, it's my brain, and that was Letters from Whitechapel, because I thought I was being so clever and you were just dancing around me, just the whole game. And the thing was,
I'm really good at Letters from Whitechapel.
All of the frustration that was aimed at me thinking I'm being clever and I'm really not.
But when we played Fear of Dracula, you guys won.
Yeah, and I still think probably
that's all down to Ollie.
Okay. Who actually slayed the vampire?
You did.
Who took the smile off his face? And when he got to do the crossroads, and I was like, "God damn it, I'm Van Helsing."
That
was perfect.
That was, I think that was one of the moments I've seen you so frustrated on this channel. So now it's just like, okay, Ollie, bye-bye.
Yeah.
No! Ollie goes away.
And that's why I was basically being his cheerleader, like, kill him.
It's only because I was the perfect puppet, Ollie, and you just manoeuvred me where you wanted me, and I was just like, okay.
The same skill that allowed you to collaborate so effectively in Fury of Dracula is probably what caused you to lose at this.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
So, but yes, it was me that rolled the dice and stuck a stake in his heart.
Well, here's an important rule for you to learn, done. Michael. In this game, everybody's trying to manipulate you all the time, and if you're not getting something out of a deal, it's probably not worth making.
But then,
even if you are getting something out of a deal, it's probably worth thinking it through.
It's like you've said, it's only through playing these type of games that I now have a bit of experience and like, so now I can. Yes, it was a horrendous playthrough for me, but
immortalized on YouTube.
It's like you said, if I don't go away and learn of how I can use those flaws and those errors into then making myself a better player, and so the next time I play, I'll be like, aha, you're not going to get me that time.
Yeah, I've learned from this mistake.
I've learned from this mistake. Then that's the whole idea of playing these games.
Yeah, but and to sort of grow it into a bit of a bigger point, actually, is that gaming as a microcosm for real life and for life in general, it's the same exact principle. You know, if we don't challenge ourselves in real life, then we don't grow as people. You know, but it's about being aware of the challenges and how we approach them, and it's really about admitting to ourselves the mistakes we made and learning from those mistakes.
Yes.
And these games provide us a controlled and safe environment in which to do that. An environment where the repercussions are not,
not
you know,
life and death, but they bloody well feel
moments
like
of
it
embarrassment
sometimes.
or, you know, are,
Immortalized on the internet.
but even so, not going to have lifelong,
Yeah.
devastating emotional repercussions
In
or
all honesty,
financial repercussions.
in all honesty, if losing a game like this has long-lasting emotional or financial repercussions, you've got a different problem.
Yeah. And it's,
Well, that's maybe something else to analyze about yourself.
Yeah.
as I say, it's not the fact that I lost or lost quite so. Lots of people have watched lots of playthroughs that I've been in, and I've lost a lot. It was frustration with myself, and then allowing that frustration to get the better of me, which was my downfall, really.
Well, that's I believe that is a gaming term. It's called going on tilt. And it's when you become so emotionally wound up about the game that you start to make poor choices and you don't see it objectively anymore. It's a game that poker players endeavor to play with one another, a meta game. Yeah, exactly. A big part of playing poker is to not go on tilt and start making dumb decisions or going all in on bad hands because you just feel self-defeating.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it comes up in a lot of the competitive games I play as well. So...
As I say, I've lost a lot, but majority of the time I always go, well, that's fine, because I played it to the best of my ability. I don't know what I could have done different in this game. Maybe I could do X, Y, and Z differently next time, now that I know those skills. But if you lose and you feel confident that you've done well, even though you've lost, that's and that's, as I said, this is why this
but I
frustrated me about this game.
I think it's very important to sort of sit down and spend a bit of time thinking about why you might have lost and what you could have done differently, rather than sort of going, well, you know, I mean, it's fair to say sometimes I did everything I possibly could have done and I still lost. And that does happen, you know, in life. You know, you do everything flawlessly and still lose. It's just because life is unfair and that's how things work out sometimes. But being able to differentiate between I did everything I could have possibly done and I still lost, and here are the exact mistakes I made, and these are what they are. How can I improve on that for next time? And more importantly, what does that say about me? And once I've learned that lesson about myself, I can apply that to all kinds of things.
True.
You know, it doesn't just have to be, what are the lessons I learned from Rising Sun? How can I play Rising Sun better? But if I learned, you know, that I'm the kind of person that needs to think more about what people are saying to me, or read subtext better, or think about pretense in negotiations, that's something that's applicable to all life and human interaction. So, you know, that's a much bigger lesson to be learned from such a sort of a condensed interaction.
Yeah. Basically, we're saying buy the game and play it.
But, you know,
Now,
be aware.
would I buy it? Maybe not.
I would.
I just... It's I mean, how expensive is it? Is it quite expensive? Because there's lots of miniatures.
For the core box at retail, I believe the core box at retail may be, God, I have no idea, 50 to 70 pounds?
Okay. So there's probably a lot more games I would want to buy before buying this one. And it's like you say, it's I know...
I think a lot of it might be a big... Because I think it can be such a divisive game. If you're the kind of person that doesn't have a very big collection already of games, then this might be a very sort of particular edition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just... It's not that I wouldn't play it again. I just don't know if I would buy it for my collection.
Fair enough.
I know I'm probably
But do you think,
very much in the minority of that.
To each their own.
Do you think you would prefer to buy Inish? Because I feel like Inish brings a lot of the same stuff to the table. Obviously, it's more amorphous table talk, less focused table talk, but it's the same kind of thing.
I know, but I don't know if I'd buy Inish either. But I think that's because it's the type of game that it is.
So you'd play them, but maybe not buy them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh well.
Because it would be something that I'd want to play again and again, and I don't know.
There's only so much learning I want to do when I play games. There's only so much soul searching and self improvement I want out of my game night.
Join me for Arkham Horror. There's very little soul searching and it's mostly destructive.
Yeah, let's ride the random roller coaster for 4 hours.
Oh crap, we've ridden Arthur lap. We're going to lose.
Yeah.
I like Arkham Horror. It's not Arkham Horror. Mansion of the Madness.
You're thinking Mansion of the Madness. Yeah, Arkham Horror is very different.
Yes.
So I would absolutely buy this. I love
Again.
it. I would play it at every opportunity I'm given. I really enjoyed this game.
Cool. Yeah? Well, you know my answer. I want it.
Yeah.
I'm on first on the list.
Good. So I think that just about wraps up our Rising Sun
Alright.
post-mortem.
Bit party pooper me. I don't want it.
Well, it's
You can have it in the fire.
good we don't all agree because
But
then...
that's what I mean. Like it's in a way, if the game is smaller or less offensive, we tend to all agree on it.
Yeah.
You know, when it's sort of one simple mechanic done very well, and we've had a good time playing it, we tend to all agree this is something that's fun that I would buy.
I feel a lot of people that watch your channel and would view this though would definitely be on your side than mine.
It's a lonely side of the fence.
There's a lonely side of the fence.
Well, I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of people that might watch this series because they think that this is not right for them or their gaming group.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they go, well, this game is just too vicious and I'm not going to enjoy it, but I'd quite like to watch other people play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just sort of go on that journey without actually having to go through all the effort of acquiring the game and organizing the game night and getting your friends over.
But that's always people. But yeah. So
thanks very much for watching our final thoughts on Rising Sun. I hope that sort of helped educate you. Though, a few things we didn't mention. Art by Adrian Smith. The art is gorgeous throughout.
Agreed.
I thought actually the season cards could probably have done with a little tarting up there. A little bland compared to everything else.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the box art is absolutely stunning. And then the card art on the season cards is not superb. But, you know, that's a minor quibble. The board art is amazing.
the models are amazing.
And then that leads me into the second point. The models are incredible. The drawings actually on the monster cards are great.
Yeah.
The monster cards in the season deck are really, really, really pretty. But it's just like some of the virtue cards and some of the green cards. They've just got these really sort of plain ink drawings, which are really nice. But everything else is so exquisite and elegant.
Yeah.
And they don't quite keep up. The models are superb. The models are great. I mean, however you feel about Cool Mini or Not's models, these ones are really, really good. And by and large, the casting has been really good as well. So I no real complaints about me there. There's mold lines and stuff like that, but then again, you know, they do have to keep it within the range of affordable. We're not paying for Games Workshop here. And so I think we don't really need to go over that again. A lot of people have already talked about that. We're talking more about the emotional journey of the game, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was a journey. Core set, very good. Kami Unbound, a great addition. I think if you're going to sort of... If I had to order the expansions, it would be Kami Unbound at the top, and then probably the Monsters pack, and then Dynasty Invasion at the bottom. I think that adds sort of the least interesting stuff. Thanks very much for coming on this journey with us, everyone, and we'll see you all tomorrow for an entirely new one.
Have a good one.
See you later, guys.